guys, hi everyone. How are you doing this afternoon? I am well myself and I'm happy to do this. And thank you so much for your feedback, guys. I get a lot of feedback on DM, even questions. Some questions I'm not able to answer directly to you, but then I keep talking about these things here on this channel. So keep watching, especially if you sent a question, keep watching. Today's episode is a very requested one about long distance relationships, how to handle them, the basics. Do they really work? Are they worth it? And that's what I'm talking about today, surviving long distance relationships. My name is Muthoni'S and you're watching Muthoni'S Mission. This channel is about emotional and mental wellness. And before we proceed, please subscribe and hit the subscription button. Yes. So let's start by looking at long distance relationships. So a long distance relationship is a relationship where both partners are geographically separated from one another. They're in an intimate relationship, but they're geographically separated. They don't have that face-to-face contact. Yeah. So, and most people think, and there's a myth, long distance relationships don't work, they can never work, but long distance relationships can work because it is a relationship. And what are the aspects and basis of a relationship? Communication, respect, affection, trust. Those are some of the basics of a relationship, full stop, whether it's with your partner, with your parents, with everybody. That is what makes up a relationship. So if a long distance relationship has aspects of a normal relationship, then it can survive. I've seen long distance relationships that have worked. However, the people who keep saying they don't work is because maybe you feel you cannot survive such a setup. But I know people who've done long distance and it really worked out for them. For some, it did not. But I don't think the reason it does not work is because of the distance per se. I think it's because of neglecting the relationship, not doing enough. Because even if it was a face-to-face relationship or a relationship where you are in physical contact with one another, there are also things you need to do to make that relationship survive and to make that relationship stand. The same things, these things that you do for a face-to-face relationship where you're in close contact, you have to do the same in a long-distance relationship and even do more, because now you're not meeting with this person. Long distance relationship do work, but you have to put in the work. Because if a relationship is not growing, that means then it's dying. It's up to you to grow it every day. So some of the questions that would probably come to your mind when you're in a long distance relationship is it worth it? Does he have other partners? Am I wasting my time? Am I joking with my life? Is this what I want for my life? Like those crazy questions. And the reason we have those questions come in a long distance relationships is because you're constantly uncertain of the end result of this relationship. You have that underlying uncertainty of whether you will make it, whether it will survive, whether you're joking with your life, whether you're kidding yourself. And I think that's where the question comes in. Do long distance relationships really work? I want to talk about a few things to spice it up, that you can do together in a long distance relationship to really make it work or to really make it stronger. The first thing that I find is really important is having something to look forward to. For example, a date. We're supposed to meet, maybe your partner lives in Canada, you live here in Kenya, and then now you come up with a date when you're supposed to meet, or the month. Maybe, for example, 2 years from now, you are supposed to meet in the month of July, this particular date. Or we have a long distance relationship. However, it's supposed to end in a proposal, or it's supposed to end in an engagement, or he's supposed to come to my parents' home. Have an end game. Have something to look forward to. If it's a date, if it's a ceremony, if you're supposed to go visit him for his graduation, if he's supposed to come over, have something to look forward to. Don't just be in a relationship and then we're just in a long distance relationship, let's see how it goes. So if you've never met, maybe you met online and you've already decided now we're in a relationship, in a committed relationship, probably set a date of when you want to have your first date, maybe after 6 months, after 3 months, after a year. So what I mean is have something to look forward to. If it's a date, just have something to look forward to that will bring you guys together, such that every day, like I've said, what kills long distance relationships is the constant uncertainty of, making it to the end or it being successful. So have something to look forward to. Even so when you have something to look forward to, you're able to survive the tough times of the relationship because you can see the end game there. You're looking forward to meeting them, you're looking forward to the activity you're going to do together. So maybe if you live in different continents, you can plan to go on holiday in a different continent. Point is, have a plan towards when you're going to meet. Know when you're going to meet, so that you can be able to work towards surviving the hard part of the relationship, surviving the tough times. You know why you're fighting for the relationship. You can see the end game. Also, another thing, like I've said, relationships die, relationships end, even relationships where people are close contact because of things like not being present. So even for long distance relationships, you can be present without being in physical contact. You can be emotionally available. You can be there for them, because what are relationships about? Relationships are basically companionship. And when you talk about companionship, is being there for one another, being there emotionally, listening to them. If they have an event coming up, knowing they have an event, wishing them well, finding out how it went. It's really being their friend, being their support, and you can do that without having physical contact with the person. Also, this is really important. Please go for dates together. Go for dates. Some of the things I found really interesting is you can choose to watch the same movie. Right now we have Netflix, guys. Yes, thank you to Netflix. You can choose to watch a movie, and then you select the same time you watch the movie, and then after the movie you talk about how the movie was. You can also come up with a recipe, maybe online, a food recipe, and then you cook, he cooks, and then you do a dinner on video. He does dinner from his end, you do dinner from your end, and then you do it on video call. You can also surprise him. You can do a poem, you can buy him things and tell him, I bought this for you, I'll give you when we meet. Keep the fire burning, keep it alive, do those surprises, send him music that you like, listen to the same playlist, do things together like a normal couple. Because even if you are in close contact or you are physically near to one another, you'd still have to do these things. You can't just sit there, do nothing, and expect the relationship to stay strong or to grow. You have to go out of you have to make effort. It's the same thing. Do the surprises, make those dinners, do dinner dates, do lunch dates, be there for them, know their calendar, like what they're doing this weekend, what they're up to, if they have stress at work, if they have something serious coming up where they work, if they have exams, they have a graduation, just know their calendar, know what their schedule is like, so you can also know what's happening. They can also know what's happening also in your life. When you're in a long distance relationship, sometimes, because we're human beings and sometimes we choose to look more on the negative, you want to focus on now you're very far away, I don't know if you have other people in your life, or I don't know if this relationship will go anywhere. However, you can choose to focus on the positive, that you have someone by your side, that you have someone who cares about you, you have someone you can call anytime, you have a companion in life. You can choose to focus on the positive without necessarily killing yourself with negative thoughts about what he could be doing. Also, the fact that if you're in a long distance relationship, you really don't know the reality of that person. You're not into their reality per se. You just know what they tell you. You don't know, it's not like someone you're going to bump into, you're going to spend the whole weekend with, so you can see how they snore at night, how they behave, how their grooming is like, are they like, do they look like their photos or their videos, or, because sometimes we present our best selves, and sometimes especially if you started dating and it's an online thing, most people, when we start dating, people send their representatives. That's not who they are. That is who they want you to think. They want you to think that's the person they are, but in reality, that's not who they are. So also those questions, and sometimes when you have negative thoughts, our thoughts trigger our emotions, and our emotions trigger our actions. So focus on the positive. Focus on when you're gonna meet. Focus on what you'd like to tell him. Focus on your, if you have an end game, if you're planning to get married, engaged, if you're planning to visit his parents, you're planning to go on holiday, focus on that. Also, communication. This actually should have been the first one. Communication. Every relationship cannot survive without communication, especially for long distance relationships where you're really far apart, and maybe your time there's time difference, where maybe when it's at night where they are, it's during daytime where you are. So prioritize time. And also, some people say come up with rules of when you should talk to one another. For some, that works. For others, they just, if I miss you, I want to call you. I want to drop you a text, even if you're asleep. I know you will respond. So just talk amongst yourself between the two of you, and how you want to communicate. There are people who are really into, I want you to call me every hour, talk to me every minute, I want to hear your voice all the time. And the others who are like, you know what, I can just call even once in 3 days. So find a compromise. Always say what you're looking for, say what you want, yeah, and then you can always find a middle ground. Also, this is important because it's important to also respect the reason why you're separated. Probably they've gone for school to do their masters or their undergrad, they've gone for work, or maybe you met online, that's where they live in a different continent or on the other side of the world. Respect the reason why you're separated. Don't put blame on the other person because they decided to go further their education. Because actually, instead of you staying there and keep blaming the other person, making them feel terrible, making them feel that they have to give up their dreams because of you, why don't you just let them go? Respect the reason why you're separated. It's really important. It is really important. Also address issues as they come. Sometimes I find that even in physical relationships where maybe you don't see your partner every day, when small issues happen, sometimes you decide, let me not talk about it right now, let me wait till we meet so I can talk about it. You cannot do that in a long distance relationships. You have to talk about these issues. And the small issues are the issues that escalate into the bigger issues. So talk about these things. If he tells you something you feel like you didn't understand, you feel like he had told you something different earlier, ask him, confront him. Talk about issues as they come. Don't pile them up to wait and sort everything or talk about everything after a year when he comes or when you meet. Talk about issues as they come. It's the small issues that mess these relationships. It's not the big issues. It's the everyday crack. It's the everyday crack. Eventually, the wall just crumbles down. Cindy. So long distance relationships do survive. They do survive, but both of you have to be willing to put in the work. They're like every other relationship, but you have to be extra. You have to go that extra mile, because it's not someone you can rush to and talk to. It's not someone you're gonna see like maybe every 2 days, every 3 days, every 4 days, or every weekend. So you have to do the extra work. So you have to really work towards being there for your partner. Set a date so that you can have hope for that relationship, because I don't think it will survive really if you have no plans, or you don't plan on a date when you will meet, or if it doesn't have an end game, it might be hard. Like, for example, me, I always said if I was to get married and then maybe my husband was living in another place, I would want to first of all have very good foundation where we are really talking to one another all the time about how we feel about the other person, basically assuring the other person and telling them what you love about them, because it's easy to be caught up by negative thoughts, by what's going on around us. And then sometimes you're like, everybody's cheating on everybody. Now imagine if he lives far away, he has like the green light to do it. I will not know. Sometimes those things can overcome your mind, but constantly reassuring your partner why you love them, why you're with them, why this relationship is important to you, what you're looking forward to. If it's really important, even for any relationship. So long distance relationships work. However, if there's no communication, you guys don't go on dates, you talk like once a month, hey, how are you? I don't know if that's a relationship. I don't know. So if you're in a long distance relationship, please comment down below and talk to me about how your relationship is, what you do to make it work, what it is, what's the most important thing to you when it comes to your long distance relationship. What is it you have to do? What is it you feel like brings you guys together as much as you're not in physical contact or really face to face contact? You know. So thank you so much for watching. My name is Muthoni Mukiri, and you've been watching Muthoni'S Vision.